Hello and welcome to One on One here on Metro TV. I am Bright Nana Kwesi Abedin, and on the show today, it'll be very interesting. I am joined in studio by one of Ghana's biggest name in the music industry, Gyedu Blay Ambulley. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us, and welcome to you to our studio. Great to have you.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, and I've actually been looking forward to interview you one day, and finally I get to do that. I'm on it. Now, over 50 years of doing music, you still look young. How have you been dealing with yourself?
Been taking good care of myself. Growing up, my father made me to know that your body is your temple, man. And if you're able to take care of the temple will take care of you. So it's been at the back of my mind from time immemorial, and making sure that whatever that I put in the system of my body will generate, good response to my body. And I think it's been working well for me because in all these years into this thing called music and things like that, I think I'm glad that I chose to become a musician because whatever that I have, wherever that I've been, everything music has taken me through. And I'm glad that I did, make that choice.
Your baritone voice, I mean, it's beautiful. it really is. But I want to find out, how is it like in a typical day of Gyedu Blay Ambulley? One day in your life, how is it like?
There is something that I think has eluded me for a long time. It's about who I am, my history, where I came from and all that. So music has already and always taken three-quarter part of my life. When I get up in the morning, I thank the Most High, seeing another day, and what am I going to do, to be able to contribute towards that day. And I think the gift of life in music, always catapults me to, get involved into music and all that. Aside from that, I like reading a lot because I like to know myself, my history, my people, where they came from and where I've raised as a people and all that. So information is very important for me.
You started doing music back in the 60s. I don't know where I was at the time. You started doing music back in the 60s, but then, and you have been running with it. Why music in the first place? You could have done any other thing outside music. Why music?
I saw that through my childhood, that anything pertaining to music was dear to my heart, and where I grew up, Sekenita Kradi, we talk about Broadway band, talk about CK Man, Carousel 7, Weaver's Dance Band, the Skylights. There were so many bands around there that were performing, maybe at outdoorings and funerals and all that. And we used to go stand at the back of the band and watch the band play. And I saw that my interest, at any given time that I get close to music, it grows. So I saw that. That was going to be my form of my contribution, to me and the world. Because when I was growing up, I could have become a priest. There were some of my co-equals became priests and things like that. I made a choice, putting priesthood here and putting music here, and said, which one am I going to choose? And I chose music, and I'm glad that I did that.
So you could have become a priest one way or the other?
Yeah, easily, because my co-equals, most of them became priests.
I'm wondering how they feel knowing that our friend who we all thought to be a priest is a musician. Do you meet them just to hear from them? And how was the connection and conversation like when you meet?
Yeah, because some of them, I think one or two of them, one is here, the other one is in America. He was in Chicago when I visited America, and I met him. He was my childhood friend. We go to school, when we come back from school, then we'll go do farming and things like that. But he chose the priesthood. And whatever that he's been gone, the priesthood took him. Now he's in Washington, D.C., Maryland, and things like that. But we still communicate.
Great. Let's take you back to Sekenita Credit, a place where we know that it used to host a lot of ships like the Naval, the Blaster Line and all, like you mentioned earlier. And also a lot of bands Sekenita Credit back in the days. Somebody might ask me, how old am I? I'm not old enough, yes, but then I have been reading ahead just because I wanted to sit down and have a conversation with the legend, Gyedu Blay Ambulley. So let's talk about that part. I mean, how were you really influenced? Because at the time where the headquarters for the Ghana Railway was the entire credit, definitely it was creating jobs. People were coming around from different backgrounds. How did that have an influence on your career and your craft?
The vibrancy of Sekenita Credit, the Ghana Railways was part of it. Because people were coming from Winnipeg, Cape Coast, Elmina, and all of them, all became employed, in the Ghana Railways. And aside from that, because of the harbor, ships, Kwame Nkrumah's ships, and everything was right there. Kwame Nkrumah, we had over 16 ships, all named after the rivers of Ghana. These are the seamen that travel outside and come back. Some come back with music, some come back with, experiences that they met when they traveled, and things like that. And in combination, those that are working home and those that were traveling to work, when they came back, it was fantastic because, Sekenita Credit, everybody wanted to be part of Sekenita Credit because if you talk about life, what makes life to become life, it was around Sekenita Credit.
I wish I was there at the time to also experience how it was like to be in Takrady, which I believe is still fun anyways. I've been there before a couple of times, about twice. I was around the Market Circle area.
Right.
Exactly. But like, still back to your music, I'm just wondering, at that time, okay, as a young man who was living among people who enjoyed music, I know there's a time where there's something called happy hour or happy time, work and happiness, where you can actually close from work as early as 12 p.m., go to the club, go have fun, and come back to work and continue on.
Yep.
How were you also dealing with that? Did you ever have a chance as a young boy? How were you dealing with all these things?
I experienced all those things because, the work and happiness idea and the influence was right there. Government had bands, private people had bands. Government had clubs. You talk about the state hotels and catering rest houses and all that. It was happening, and the private people had clubs. So anywhere that you turn, music and entertainment was everywhere. And growing up in that kind of arena, oh man, because the seamen, when they came back from Europe or America, they brought records. That was the time that we were listening to James Brown's them and Wilson Pickett's and Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder's them. And when they came, the way they were dressing, so they were more Americanized. In their way of expressions in speeches and in talks and all that. And we all became fascinated with that. But me growing up, because of me being caught up in between music coming from Europe, outside the shores of Ghana, and the local music, because the local musicians were also recording. And we had only one radio, the Ghana Railway, Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, only one radio. But there were some recordings that were being made by Decca Records and Philip Records and things like that. So they were recording the bands, talking about E.T. Mensah's, the Black Beats and the Stargazers and the Broadway Dance Band. And so every Saturday, we go close by the radio box and things like that. And they were doing something they call the radio dance time. And radio dance time, we hear different bands perform. And aside from that, locals and things like that, you go, Broadway is there, CK Man is there.
Yeah.
You're talking about Skylarks, you're talking about Weavers Dance. So everywhere that you turned, music was happening. And that was one thing that, like you mentioned, called work and happiness, because we had afternoon jumps. whereby workers close from 12 from work, they go to afternoon jobs, 1:30, they go back to work.
How were they able to do that? Juggle in between working for few hours and going to the club and coming back to continue the work. How were they doing that?
It was a fever. It was a fever because there were jobs. During that time, there were jobs. During that time, Galamsey and everything was going on, but
Galamsey at the time, huh?
yeah, but only few people were doing the game because there were jobs, government jobs and private jobs and everything. So only few people were involved in Galamseys and all that. So seamen were there. I worked with my father because my father was working with the Segendi Takrady City Council. My father was a senior health inspector. So when I finished with my elementary school, well, I got employed. So I worked with my father for almost, I think, 4 or 5 years. And that time, the Ghana Railways also, they had band called the Ghana Railway Dance Band. And I got involved. That's where I learned my rudiments of music. And all that, Samalate, the late Samalate, he was the one who taught me rudiments of music. And later on, they bootlegged them and things like that. They also came through. And,
You just mentioned the Botela, and that brings me to the conversation about your connection with him. How did you meet him? And even just about a year or so ago, American musician Kelly Rowland fused or sampled his instrumentals in her music. Brilliant. We all loved it. Beautiful one there. But tell me, how did you come in connection with Botela?
During that time, Botela was playing with a band called the Stargazers Band. They were in Kumasi. But they were also recording. So in Sekondi, there was a man who was selling records and things like that. So when I was passing through to my mother, go and find some food, I would sometimes stayed by that kiosk that was playing music. I might stay there for almost about 2-3 hours. And they were playing music by Stargazers, Broadway, man. So that was when I got to know of Botela. And I admired him that time because the guitar formations that he was playing was quite interesting. So I admired him, and lo and behold, he also became a band leader. So the connection was right there. And the Botela became my band leader 3 times. He was my band leader of the Ghana Railway Band. He was my band leader in the Uhuru Dance Band. And he was my band leader with the Apeja Show Band. So my connection with him was, strong.
Back in the days, these bands, what were some of the songs that you really, really used to love, and can you remember any of them?
Yeah, that time, musicians and bands were singing about life, the do's and don'ts of life and things like that. Aomuni amodofu efime brewu subanti krofo bekan wasa moye nyimgwasi saminti dofu hye. They tell you, things about life. Awe junde awankuti nebe nipa.
I like that.
Musuma nipo oni ashiwo. So we're learning. Apart from the musicalities of it, enjoying the music and everything, you are also learning the do's and don'ts of life through all this music.
Aside the bands singing in connection with matters of life and advising the youth and all that, how important were they when it came to social life?
Yeah, because, music is something that, renders out information. And education as well. Because whatever that you hear coming out of the records and things like that, you see daily. People encounter that daily. Through your friends, through your families and everything. So it was very, very well connected, into our way of life and everything. And I was happy with that because when you buy a record, take it home. It's different listening to it, somewhere and living it, and different taking it home. Because when you take it home, you play and you play it over. And the more you play, the more you learn, and the more you feel the lyrics, that is coming out of the music.
You mentioned to me that back in Takoradi, you had a lot of people coming from abroad and all that. Did that influence how you speak and even how you act?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I think so because the Americanization, man, was right there because the American seamen were also coming in. And when they came, they'll be hanging out with the prostitutes and things like that. And we sometimes look at how they dress, and, the slang that they,
Okay.
yeah, man. And, it was fascinating.
So it's not as if you actually traveled to the US and where to learn how to speak, but then it was locally done here in Takoradi.
Yeah, the influence, started before my going to America. So when I went to America, I mean, I've had America locally.
Before you got the road American.
Yeah, exactly, before getting involved. And, I'm also glad that I went to America because when we're children, we watch movies, movies showing about America, showing about the black Americans, showing about the West Indians and things. So getting involved and being among them, it was a totally different experience.
What made you finally to decide that you wanted to professionally take music as a career?
I saw that was going to be my contribution because everybody has a talent. That's the one good thing about our creator. Everybody has it. Whether you are handicapped or not, there's something that is given to you as a gift. The only good thing is being able to discover that. When you're able to discover that, it helps you through life. Life becomes a little easier. Because if you're not able to discover that, then it's trial and errors and things like that. And when it goes on for a long time, then you don't know where you belong, and you don't feel comfortable. So me, I saw it right from the beginning because I remember one time we went and saw a local cinema, movies, and it looks like my classmates also saw it because when they showed Broadway band playing, all my classmates, Ambulley, Ambulley. So I said, whoa, it looks like they've seen something. So it catapulted me.
Yeah, great one there. That means name Ambulley did start now. I mean, back in school and all that, he was crowned a champion back then. Anytime. But let's now talk about the fact that you played with several bands. How did that happen? Walk me through that. Take me on a journey.
The journey of my music, the beginning was when I became fascinated with music, and I think the drums. I became fascinated with the drums because when I look at the drummer, using his both feet and hands, to combine rhythm and things like that, I became fascinated with that. And I wanted to learn that, but the opportunity of, getting drums to learn wasn't there. So I told a senior friend of mine, Uncle Bonku, he was a guitar player who was, going to Ivory Coast and Senegal and going to perform and come back. So when I told him about that, they said, no, it's better that, he teaches me the guitar because with the guitar I have access. But with the drums, I don't have access because with the drums, I have to travel all the way from Sagini to Takoradi. And me, a schoolboy, I'm going to make some money and, journey myself from Sagini to Takoradi. But the guitar, I had access with that in Sekandi. So it was Uncle Bonku who opened my door of showing me the four chords on the guitar. And these are the four chords that you're talking about: C, D minor, F, G7. And these are the chords that basically they use to play high life music. Talking about Yam Ponsa and everything. It's all based on these chords. So my senior friend, Uncle Bonku, teaching me this opened the doors for me. And it also helped me to be with the Ghana Railway Dance Band. Because it was in Sekandi. And the late Samalati was the leader there. So I had a chance of going to him to learn the rudiments of music. Aside from that, when we go to rehearsals and things like that, also there were instruments there to be able to, fiddle with.
How many bands did you join before creating your own?
Downbeats, Railway Dance Band, Hugas Extraordinaire, Gaylords, and from Gaylords, Meridian Dance Band, and from Meridian Dance Band, I came to Uhuru Dance Band as a bass player. So with the Uhuru Dance Band, that's where my creativity was exposed.
Your creativity as in singing?
As a composer, singer, musician, because there was a friend, because in the Uhuru Dance Band, Ebo Taylor was my leader at that time.
Great.
And a friend of his, the late Bansi Angel, he was with Ebo Taylor, back in England. And then so he came to record Ebo Taylor. And I told him that, oh yeah, I also have some songs. Then he asked me to play. So he came to my room, I picked up the guitar, played. He said, okay, let's add it to the recording. And lo and behold, that was the beginning of Ambulley. That's the music that I heard Kwaji, Booster, and things like that. That's the thing that exposed Ambulley, let Ghana know that there's somebody with the name Ambulley. So this Kwaji, Booster, and things like that, we were doing it back in second D. With Michael Equals, because we didn't have money to buy congas. So we started using our mouth to create that. Because when congas played, you hear pim, so we didn't have money, so we started using our mouth. Don't
take the piece out of my mouth, I'll come to that. But then I want to talk about your journey from Takoradi to Accra to Tema.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
When I joined the Hugas Extraordinaire, it took me out of second D. And because we were traveling to other regions and things like that. And after that, we came to Accra, stayed at a place called Latibia Koshi, and it was like that. So when the band was disbanded, that's when I went and joined the Gaylords. From Gaylords, I joined the Meridian Dance Band. So Meridian Dance Band, we were stationed in the Meridian Hotel in Tema.
Is it same as the full complex band?
No. The Meridian Dance Band came before the full complex band. Because after Meridian Dance Band, we formed another band called Apeja Show Band. This band was put together by the late, what we call it, AC Bonds. AC Bonds was a recording company, the head. So he thought that when I made that my record, her qualities and things like that, then he thought that, okay, why don't we put a band together so that we can be doing, creative music. And Ebo Taylor also became a band leader again in that Apeja Show Band. So that's when we started creating Akokoba Jidede, Mia Brentis, Gesima, all those kind of things.
But why the shift from one band to the other? Because you just mentioned to me that Ebo Taylor was your leader 3 times in 3 different bands. Why couldn't you maintain a particular band? What was causing the breakup almost now and then?
Sometimes it depends on what's going on or what's happening at that time. Because when we were with Uhuru Dance Band, the Uhuru Dance Band was playing more, copyrighted music. Because they were reading music and things like that and playing that. But when we formed the Apeja Show Band, then we had to create our own. So I saw that as a place for me because of my creativity. And when we went to Apeja Show Band, exposure of me creating music, composing music, arranging music, and expressing it by my singing and things like that, the doors were open for that. So I thought that that's a better place for me to express myself musically, more than Uhuru Dance Band.
How many instrumentals are you able to play? Because I know you can play the guitar, the saxophone, and what else?
Bass, keyboard, drums, and things like that. I might not be too perfect, in the keyboard, but whatever that I want to know or add musically, I have the expressions to that because I have the knowledge of music. Talking about keyboard is chords and everything put together. So I knew the only instrument that I can play is trumpet.
Trumpet. At least I have something I can do. Because I play trombone. I'm a trombonist.
Oh, you did?
Exactly. Yeah. Now your breakthrough came back in the 70s.
Yeah.
What happened? How did that happen for you?
It came through my first recording, the Simugadu. The Simugadu is a coin word, but in effect it means that Misimugadu.
Miss Simegwado.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on my chair.
Yeah, man.
And it's what Simegwado.
Yeah, because it's Americanized. You know, when you the
You had to
Simegwado,
add a little bit of flex to it.
yeah, the Simegwado, her, quite, you know, that's that kind of format. And it became something that was the fascination, you know, that was coming out of it was so strong, because in that music, I created a dance to it, and apart from that, I created a language to it. Apart from the language, I created what we call the lyrics also to it. So it's combination of three things in one.
So would you say that you are the first musician to create a dance out of your music, and also the first musician to also create a language out of for your music?
James Brown was doing that.
Here in Ghana and a part of the world.
Oh yeah, I mean, I took my cue from James Brown, because James Brown was singing. He has his own form of dance, you know. He has his own form of music and mashed potato popcorns and all that kind of thing. So it gave me an idea, you know, to be able to put all these three things together, and it worked well for me, you know, putting that kind of rap and things like that. Yeah, because the rap is an African thing. Rap didn't come from America. Because when the king is coming, the linguist, you know, gives these are all raps, you know, but it didn't have music behind it. But I'm the one who put music behind it, because let me tell you, about the Tusa, about the bullfruit, horse, yeah, you see the, you know, so, and I think that became the first ever recorded rap music. I think so, because yes, because we go to Guinness Book of Records, they're talking about Sugar Hill Gang and Rappers Delight. The years that they're talking about Sugar Hill Gang and Rappers is around 78, 79.
Have you made a move to ensure that is corrected?
Yeah, because mine came in 73, and I'm challenging the Guinness Book of Records for that.
How long have you been doing that for now?
There's been some correspondences that is going on, because you know, everything that came from Africa, they're always looking down upon it, thinking that, oh, yeah. But in reality, everything originated from Africa.
Isn't it because maybe what you call rap at the time really didn't have meaning to it, because it was like a slang language you had created? Is that not the reason why you think it has not been included yet in the Guinness Book of Record?
No, because mine is, if, you know, putting words together, you know, and let it sound like a rhyme and things like that, you know. And so you know, it's a kind of a rhyme, you know, something that I started putting words to it, because beginning it was rhythm, you know, out of the congas. Then let me say, okay, why can't I put words to it? That's when about the bullfruit, about the Tusa, you know, and so be a belle, you know, Yamansa Quanta, you know, that kind of format. And it worked well. So then the Guinness Book of Records and things like that, you know, because anywhere that I travel to, whether Europe or anywhere, I make them to know that the first ever recorded rap came from Africa. It's not America. So the correspondence and everything is still on. We're going to see where it's going to end.
Please, we need this record to put in the archive for the future. We need this record to put in the archive. Please do us the honest and give us what you do us. Great. Now, your friends who you were playing with or having fun with back in the days, how were they taking your career? I mean, when you first told them that you wanted to do music because you realized that is who you are, how was it like for them? And how did they influence you?
Yeah, I mean, they saw that. They saw that in me. It came to a time that how am I going to express it to them and let them know that whatever that I'm talking about is for real. You know, they saw that in me, and I was able to convince them. You know, when I made my first recordings and things like that, let them know that, oh yeah, I mean, this guy is serious. You know, and they took me for real.
Were any of them involved in music?
Not all that, but, you know, in the course of our childhood days, you know, we were up and down a little bit. But when we grew up to a certain level, everybody chose his career, you know, and none of them did music. It was only me. Talking about my family, it's only me. So That's where it is. And I'm glad that I've been able to, put an indelible stamp, in whatever that I've been able to create.
All right, and so I'm still on one-on-one with a legend. I'm really happy about him. Joining me here in the studio on the show, Gyedu Blay Ambulley, and we are talking about his music life in Takoradi, life in Accra, life in Tema, and all the times he spent joining bands that also helped shape him to be who he is here today. This is the one-on-one. Stay with us. And welcome back to one-on-one. I'm still here in the studio with Gyedu Blay Ambulley, the man who, according to him, was the first to bring rap music in the world, and it didn't come from America. It was first initialized there in Africa, Ghana to be precise. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Now let's talk about some of your music. There's one that you have about Akokoba Jaisu. Jaididi. I mean, I listened to the song before even meeting you here to have a conversation with you, and it sounded more like what the account would say, Ekutia. What exactly was the brain behind that song, and was it specially recorded for somebody else?
Akoba Jaididi is like empty barrels. They make the most sound. Because when the barrel is empty coming, you can hear it from a far distance, And if you look at chicken, and its babies, you see that the babies are crying more than the mother, because the mother is leading the babies and the mother the crop. But you see the baby chicken, because they're looking for food, things like that. But at the end of the day, the owner is going to put a basket. All of them going to go under the basket, for safekeeping and all that. So it became proverbial, jededeni because umaminu bunara onyi kansanasi. So you run your mouth and things like that. But at the end of the day, the basket is your place of abode. So it's a proverb, because a lot of people talk more than they can do.
How do you relate that in recent life, political-wise, and the ordinary lifestyle? How can we relate that to it?
Yeah, I relate that to it because a lot of people are showing off. I am this. When they make a little money and things like that, they want to show that, I am, and things like that. But if you really check them, how they make their money, where they are and things like that, they see that, they're just trying to create impression. And a lot of people do that. Because when we get out there, everybody wants to show that I am.
Yeah.
That sort of format. But size that person up. You see that he's running his mouth more than he can do.
In 1986, the song Miamia Brantis, The Great Man, was given birth to.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. How did that happen? Such a beautiful piece.
Yeah. This is a song that, back in the days in Sekendia, Semensudu, our elders were singing it. Mia Brent Miss Gesimano, Mobom Life, because it's like somebody who's won lotto. You win lotto and you become swollen-headed. You think that, I am that I am, because, you put nice clothes, be smoking and things like that. But in lo and behold, if you're not able to take good care of what you're doing, you're going to lose all the money. Then you're going to go back to square one. So that's the formation of music, that whatever that you have, if you make some money and things like that, take good care of it. You don't style up yourself that, you want to show that,
But is that not where, let's take it back to Takoradi, is that not where, you just told me that this song was already being sung by people in Takoradi. Nice clothes, nice hat, some cigarette and all that. Is it no an influence from what the foreigners also brought to Takoradi at the time?
Yeah, it's an influence, but you just don't do it by just doing it. You have to have something at the back of your mind, because too many things are happening in the world that if you're not able to take care of yourself and take care of your belongings and what you have, it means that you're going to lose them. So though the Americanization and everything is there, but we're doing it with back mind, back thoughts that, hey, I'm doing it, but still, I got to be careful.
And how was the effect on people when the song was released?
Man, even today, I released that song back in '86, and how many years now? And even today, when I still play, people they enjoy it. They acclimatize to it. I mean, they can't get enough of the music. But it's all based upon the fact that if you do it and you do it genuinely and things like that, the music will stay young as far as it can.
Let's quickly remind ourselves of how the song sounds. I mean, a line wouldn't be bad. Just a line wouldn't be bad.
It's a gift that I have. Talking about composing, talking about arranging, and that's sort of form of pumps. So apart from the lyrics, is the music that's behind it, that is pushing the lyrics and everything, and that's my gift. All those kind of pam 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 pam, it's all gift that the Almighty just passes through me.
So you don't write it through any stuff within. They don't have to read the music before they play them. You just write the chords and all that.
No, it's a gift that comes, and the moment it comes, it's just like drawing. You can get an idea, and put it out in sketches and all that.
I know you must have heard some of our new and young artists fusing some of your songs into their songs. They've sampled some of your songs and all that. How do you react to that?
Anything that is being done, I think we have to do it for the better. Many of them, it doesn't, sit right with me, how they treat, my music and things like that, because many of them are not musicians. Many of them are just playing around the computers, and feel that, okay, Ambulley this thing, so let me infuse that into it and all that. But it doesn't have to be that way. It has to be for real. That song, 86, and it's still happening, it's for real. If not, the song would have vanished a long time ago.
Which song have you heard with the piece of your music that you thought or think hasn't been done right?
Even the same song that we're talking about. I think whether it's one of these rappers, what's his name?
JB?
JB and all that, yeah. I remember he used, I bent his, yes, but the rhythm, the beat, and things like that. I think it was too light for me.
So did you try to speak to him about it, and how did he respond to it?
They played it for me to hear one time, because I remember D Black and something like that. I think they were doing that kind of combination, and he called me to the studio to listen to it and things like that. I listened to it, but to their level, they think that is fantastic. But to my level, it wasn't reaching where it has to reach.
But don't you believe we are in a different generation, a different century, where things and ways of doing things have changed? Don't you believe in that?
No, I believe in that, but it has to be for the better. I mean, if it means that, because we are in computer age, technological age and things like that. So I think that we have to use that to make it even better than mine. Because when I was doing that music, technology wasn't there. Computers weren't there. But today we have them. It's just like the movies. White people have been telling our stories for us, using the cameras and things like that. Today we have the cameras. So how are we telling our story? We have to tell our story, because we own the stories. But it's rather they are copying the white way of making movies, and things like that. And like if you take the Kumawood and Kumasi and things like that, they take the old man, paint his face like an old man, and to play a part. And we need to grow beyond that. Because if you take Nigerian movies, they don't do that. If somebody is a grown-up, they take a grown-up to play that part. You know, so these are the things that we need to do to make whatever that we're doing, you know, to be better. Because we have to grow. We don't have to retrogress. No.
All right, enough of that. Let's not talk about you and your how do I say it? Your wanting to travel and explore and open your wings, spread your wings. So in 1988, you left for the U.S., New York to be precise. Tell me, why the U.S.? And imagine a man who has so much of accolades in his hometown, okay, releasing a hit song back in the 70s, traveling to the U.S. and becoming a security personnel. Why did you do that?
No, I went to America because I saw that I have conquered Ghana musically, because my music was everywhere. But America too America is an entertainment center of the world, because one would see music that was coming from there. The Black Americans, you know, expressing the music, they said that the entertainment in America was huge, talking about music, talking about movies and everything. So I said, then why don't you go there?
But you didn't start off there as a musician. You started off there as a security man, or let's say a security personnel.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't living in America. If you go to somebody's country, you are new. You know what I mean? You can't go to somebody's country and just become huge and things like that. You have to start from somewhere. So to be able to pay my bills, you know, and things like that, I didn't mind working as a security guy, because I knew the reason why I went to America. So I need to put myself together to be able to stand on my feet so that I can explore my reasons of going to America. So being a security man, it didn't bother me, because I need to have a place to stay. You know, I need to, you know, buy some food and things like that. And security job was giving me that from the beginning. And, you know, I didn't even care about it, because I knew that at some point in time, my music is going to take my forefront more than being a security guard.
And at what point did your music come in whilst you were in the U.S. and still working as a security guard?
In the course of my being a security guard, I had a chance of performing at the Apollo Theater.
How did that happen?
Somebody introduced me to, you know, Apollo.
Ghanaian?
No, it's an African-American woman called Roberta, you know, and she knew somebody there, and she knew the music that I was doing as well. So I said, okay, let's go, because Apollo is a strategic place that if you fumble a little bit, the audience will boo you out, you know. And me from Africa, being able to hit Apollo. And when you hit Apollo, music, we have so many artists that you play one song, you leave for the next act to come. Here, me from Africa, I was able to play 2 songs at a go. Because when I finished my first song, I asked the audience, "You want more?" Then they say, "Yeah." Then I looked at the face of the promoter. He couldn't say no. So it was a record for me that to be able to conquer
at the
Apollo.
time.
Man, I saw that, yes, I've arrived, you know.
Can I boldly say that you were the first Ghanaian to perform at the Apollo?
Well, during that time, I didn't know of any other Ghanaian that, you know, had the chance of performing there. Maybe some might have done that, but I didn't see them, you know, until I went there and did my performance and, you know, paved my way. So out of that, I had the chances of performing at other clubs, you know, because we had African clubs, and every year too there was African festivals and things like that. So it also opened the doors for me.
Now, this was a crowd that you know nothing of.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody's land. The moment you got on stage, what was going through your mind? Let's recount.
When I went on, we hit the stage, I saw that, you know, because before I hit the stage, other acts were performing. Honestly, so I was just checking what was going on, you know, and the reaction of the audience as well. So when I hit the stage, because you see, my music is in combination of African, the American, and everything all together. And they took the Africans away from Africa, but they couldn't take Africa away from them. So whatever that I was doing, they were feeling it. Because when I hit the stage and I say, they haven't heard that before, but they couldn't get enough of it. Yeah, the moves. And in the course of that, 2 African American girls, they jump on the stage, started dancing with me and all that kind. So the crowd, got haywire, hey, and things like that. And it gave me a total confidence. When they jump on the stage dancing with me and things like that, it was a total confidence.
Were you paid for that show, or you thought it's a parlor after all, available for free?
No, I don't think I was paid for that show, but it was a show for me to introduce myself, into the American scene. And even if they weren't paying me, I would have done that, and I'm still going to do that, because they have to know you. They have to see you. You're African. Okay, what do you have? And what can you do? And that was a chance for me to express, and it was fantastic.
You love Felakuti.
Love? Mm-hmm. That what?
I mean, you have a certain respect for him as an artist. Tell me about that.
Fela?
Yeah.
Oh, Fela, if you take Africa, take musicians coming from Africa, Fela's creation is deep. Somebody, he attended school in England and things like learned a little bit of what we call it classics and things like that. But when he came back, he took the African in him. Talking about his compositions, talking about his rhythms and things like that, talking about his horns, talking about his singing and things like that. It was fantastic. We have other great African musicians, Hugh Masekela and all them, they're all there. But Fela's creativity was authentic because, it was total creation, and I respected him for that.
Yeah. All right. Now, earlier, before we started talking here, you and I were speaking about music made in Ghana and that of Nigeria, and we shared views on how it looks like the high life is losing its grounds because there's a new trend, the Afrobeat. I believe in evolution, okay, but where do you stand?
For me, being a musician, I always stand with the creative part of music. Every country has its music, every country. So the gift of music that we have, that it was, transferred from our seniors, musicians to us, we need to hold it and expose it to the world. The younger ones these days, when they get up, so I'm a dancehall artist, but we know that dancehall was created from Jamaica. So how can you sit down and call yourself a dancehall king? You can't be a king more than the creator. And whatever that it is, like you're saying, it's evolution. Even if you want to become a dancehall artist and things like that, you have to become a dancehall artist in the Ghanaian format.
How can the person do that?
Oh yeah, it's plus minuses and things like that. You have to have that creativity to do that, because if a brother from Jamaica does a song like yes.
Yeah.
So you two have to highlight it, in our way.
A bit of high life.
Yeah.
Is that why when you were invited to a jazz show in the US, you ended up singing the American song with a touch of high life? Is that a reason why?
Because we have to express it. Let them know that this is not what they do, but this is what we do. Because I'm from Ghana, yes, nice one. I do this and things like that. So if I take American music and I highlight it and Africanize it, it becomes more interesting. Because they've known theirs. So some of them think that they can't do anything different. But like I said, the Latin musicians from South America, They can take they play that in the Latin format. So when the Americans also hear, they say, oh wow, this is, yeah. So this is how music is going to do, because they are from South America, that's their rhythm. We're from Ghana, this is our rhythm. So if we want to sell it or take it beyond the shores of Ghana, then we have to put an identity in it. Because identification is very, very important. Without identity, it can be anything.
So currently, let's talk about the young chaps who are doing amazing well, like the Black Cherries and all that. Who's your favorite Ghanaian musician assistant?
There are a few ones in there who are for real. When I came back from America, the raps that Obrafo was doing at that time, it was fascinating. Mm. I mean, taking the locals and things like that, and, I said, yeah, that's something. But the music that he took to back the rap, he was taking foreign music to back the rap. That's the saddest part.
Isn't it exactly what you're talking about, infusing what belongs to them into yours to create an act for yourself?
Then the identity has to be there. You can take anything and things like that, but the identification of what you have needs to be in there. It's very important. That's what is missing. Kofi Kenyatta them and things like that. They say that he's rapping and singing and putting some good lyrics and things in there. So he's trying to make an identity for himself. There are some things, because at any given time, if anybody hears your music, that person must be able to identify that this is Kofi Kenyatta, or this is Ambulley, or this is Joelaka, or this is Papa Yankson. Because when you hear music coming from A.B. Cranston and things like that, the moment you hear the music and sing, you know that it's A.B. Cranston, because there's an identity in there. And that is what is missing among the younger ones.
Great identity to make sure that they create their own stuff.
Yeah,
to copy too much.
Something has to be in there to identify that this is this, and this is what's coming from.
So let me take you back to my question again. I mean, among the new arts on the blog, who's your favorite?
If I say, talking about, somebody who's my favorite, I'm finding it hard to take it.
That means you have a lot.
There's a lot, but I'm still finding, not that a lot, but the identification of what they are doing is not sitting right with me. So I'm finding it hard to say this is my favorite. Though lyrics-wise and things like, oh yeah, there are some that lyrics-wise doing good.
Like Sarkodie.
Sarkodie is a rapper. They talk about a fast rapper and things like, yeah, Sarkodie, but like what he did with what we call it, the guy who passed away from Takoradi.
Forgive me. Okay, I'll try to remember the name.
That they did a combination.
Yeah.
With High Life and his whatever that Sarkodie is doing.
And that was a record. That was a record by Hammer the last two, but then Sarkodie was on it.
Yeah, Sarkodie was okay. Whatever that Sarkodie is doing and things like, his identification is in the rap, but he's left with the music. Sarkodie can take a high life music and put the rap to it, and that high life music will bring an identification, an identity to what he's doing. Because if that music goes beyond the shores of Ghana, there's an identity in there. That's what Sarkodie needed to do. If you take Adam and all that, because it has to take like me, because Adam is from Volta region.
Volta region, yeah.
You have to take that kind of, rhythmic things from Volta region and be putting the raps and things to it. That is the identity. One time I was watching a guy, I think he's also from the Volta region, but he took the Agbaja lesson and he put a rap to it. I said, yes, that is it. That is it. The other time I was listening to Floating Stone or something. I think I said the brother to Ochami Kwame or something. Yeah, I listened to him at plus 233. And he played about some 2 music. I said, yes, that's it.
The Adowa sound and all that.
Yeah, I mean, and the rhythm and his rap. And I said, that is it. But later on, when I saw him and heard him, it's like he's becoming different. I think sometimes they need producers, or they need, people behind them to be able to say, hey, that is it. That is it. Let's focus on this. Because if you want to go beyond the shores of Ghana, there has to be something like that.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
But I'm tempted to ask you, how old are you, please?
Can you guess?
Okay, I might end up guessing, 70 years?
Yeah, I'm 75.
75, I'm close.
You're getting close.
But you look amazingly healthy.
Like I said from the beginning, man, your body is your temple, man. Take care of the temple, and the temple will always take care of you.
And that is the message we are living with. Your body is your temple, take care of the temple, and the temple will take care of you. I am Bright, and this has been 101. Thank you for watching.